Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm Kim and in today's video we're going to learn about the differences between the verbs Ajatella, Miettiä and Luulla. All of them express thinking but are used in different situations. For each verb we will cover three things in this video: its construction, example sentences for all levels, as well as grammar and new vocabulary. So let's start with our first verb, which is Ajatella. Ajatella means to think or to have thoughts. It has a neutral tone and refers to the process of forming thoughts in your mind. This verb can also be used in a variety of sentence constructions. Our first construction is called thinking of someone or something. We can use the verb Ajatella when our thoughts are focused on someone or something. Note that the person or thing we're focusing on takes the partitive case. Here's one example. Katson ikkunasta ja ajattelen sinua means I look out the window and think of you. Let's go step by step. Katson is the first person singular present tense of the verb katsoa, which means to watch or to look. Ikkunasta means out of the window. Ja means and. Ajattelen means I think. It's the first person singular present tense of the verb ajatella, which means to think, and sinua here is the partitive case of sinä, which means you. Here we use the partitive case because we want to express that we're thinking of someone. So let's repeat again. Katson ikkunasta ja ajattelen sinua. I look out the window and think of you. Our second construction is called questions about the opinion. We can also use Ajatella in questions to ask someone's opinion or thoughts about a topic. When we do this, the topic takes the elative case. For example, mitä sinä ajattelet Ruotsin luonnosta? Literally means, what do you think about the nature of Sweden? Or as we would say in English, what do you think about Sweden's nature? Let's go step by step. Mitä means what? It's a question word. Sinä means you. Ajattelet is the second person singular present tense of the verb ajatella. Ruotsin here means of Sweden. It's the genitive case of Ruotsi, which means Sweden. And luonnosta is the elative case of luonto, which means nature. Here we use the elative case because we're asking someone's thoughts about the nature. So let's repeat again. Mitä sinä ajattelet Ruotsin luonnosta? What do you think about Sweden's nature? Construction number 3, intentions and plans. We can also use the verb ajatella together with another infinitive verb when we want to express what we intend or plan to do. In such constructions, ajatella usually appears in the past tense because it expresses a completed thought while the second verb stays in its basic form. For example, minä ajattelin käydä Torontossa means I was thinking of visiting Toronto. Let's go step by step. Minä means I. Ajattelin is the first person singular past tense of ajatella. So ajattelin means I thought. Käydä has several meanings, but here it means to visit. And Torontossa is the inessive case of Toronto, which is Toronto in English, a city in Canada. So here we use the verb ajatella in order to express our intention to visit Toronto. Minä ajattelin käydä Torontossa. I was thinking of visiting Toronto. Now construction number 4, ajatella plus että. We can also use ajatella in combination with että, which means that, followed by a full sentence to convey a thought that occurred to us in a specific moment. For example, ajattelen, että maalaan seinän vaaleanpunaiseksi means I think I'll paint the wall pink. Let's go step by step. Ajattelen is the first past singular present tense of ajatella, which means to think. Että means that. Maalaan is the first person singular present tense of maalata, which means to paint. Seinän here is the genitive case of seinä, which means wall. Here we use the genitive case because we are referring to a specific wall. And vaaleanpunaiseksi is the transitive case of vaaleanpunainen, which means pink or rose. Here we use the transitive case because we want to express a change of state. So painting the wall causes the wall to become a different color. So the wall I want to paint will become pink. Let's repeat again. Ajattelen, että maalaan seinän vaaleanpunaiseksi. I think I'll paint the wall pink. Let's take a look at some more examples. En ole koskaan ajatellut asiaa tuolla tavalla means I have never thought about it that way. Let's go step by step. En ole ajatellut means I haven't thought. It's the first person singular negative perfect tense of ajatella. Koskaan in negative sentences means never. So en ole koskaan ajatellut means I have never thought. Asia, here's the partitive case of asia, which means matter or think. And tuolla tavalla means in that way or like that. So let's repeat again. En ole koskaan ajatellut asiaa tuolla tavalla. I have never thought about it that way. One more, actually a very common phrase. Kun olin ajatellut asiaa, muutin mieleni means after I had thought about it, I changed my mind. Let's go step by step. Kun means when, or it can also mean while. Olin ajatellut is the blue perfect tense of ajatella. Asia, here's the partitive case of asia, which means think or matter. Here we use the partitive case because we want to express what it is that we're thinking about. And muutin mieleni means I changed my mind. So muutin, here's the past tense of muuttaa, which means to change. And mieleni is a combination of mieli, which means mind, plus the possessive suffix ni. So mieleni means my mind. Let's repeat again. Kun olin ajatellut asiaa, muutin mieleni. After I had thought about it, I changed my mind. Now let's quickly go through the conjugations. Here are the forms for the positive present tense. Minä ajattelen, sinä ajattelet, hän ajattelee, me ajattelemme, te ajattelette, and he ajattelevat. Now the negative forms. Minä en ajattele, sinä et ajattele, hän ei ajattele, me emme ajattele, te ette ajattele, and he eivät ajattele. Our next one is miettiä, which means to consider, to think over, or to ponder. It's often used with decisions or finding solutions. Unlike ajatella, which can describe a single thought, miettiä implies a longer and deeper thought process, for example by weighing up the pros and cons. Same as ajatella, miettiä can also be used in a variety of sentence constructions. Let's start with the first one. The so-called considering something construction. We often use miettiä when we want to express what we are considering or reflecting on. In such constructions, the object must be in the partitive case. For example, minun täytyy miettiä tätä asiaa means I need to think about this matter. Let's go step by step. Minun täytyy miettiä is the necessity sentence structure and can be translated as I have to think over or to reflect, or I need to think over or to reflect. Remember the rule? Person in the genitive case plus täytyy plus infinitive verb. And tätä asiaa means this matter. It's the partitive case of tämä asia. So here we use miettiä in order to emphasize careful consideration or reflection. So let's repeat again. Minun täytyy miettiä tätä asiaa. I need to think about this matter. Now, construction number 2, miettiä plus a question word. We can also use miettiä with questions. One option, for example, is to combine it with classic question words such as mihin, missä, or milloin. For example, Jussi miettii, mihin hän on pannut avaimet means Jussi is wondering where he has put the keys. So here we use miettiä to emphasize that Jussi is trying to figure out where he has put the keys, which usually involves a deeper thinking process. Miettii here is, by the way, the third person singular present tense of miettiä. Miettiä. Mihin means where to. Here we use it because Jussi is asking where to or into what place the keys were put. And hän on pannut is the third person singular perfect tense of panna, which means to put, to set, or to place. And then we have avaimet, which is the nominative plural of avain, which means keys. Here we use the nominative plural because we're talking about specific keys. So let's repeat again. Jussi miettii, mihin hän on pannut avaimet. Jussi is wondering where he has put the keys. Our next construction is called miettiä plus the question marker go or go. For example, mietin voinko means I wonder if I can. Mietit voitko means you wonder if you can. And mietimme voimmeko means we wonder if we can. For example, mietin pitkään, ostaisinko valkoisen sohvan means I thought for a long time if I should buy the white sofa. Let's go step by step. Mietin pitkään means I thought for a long time. So miettiä here emphasizes again careful consideration. Ostaisinko means should I buy? It's a combination of the first person singular conditional present tense plus the question marker go. And valkoisen sohvan means the white sofa, genitive case of valkoinen sohva. So here we use the verb miettiä in order to emphasize that we're making a careful decision about the pros and cons of buying the white sofa. For example, if you have a cat or a dog, you might want to think twice before buying a white sofa. So let's repeat again. Mietin pitkään, ostaisinko valkoisen sohvan. I thought for a long time if I should buy the white sofa. The next construction is the so-called mietin että construction. For example, mietin että means I think that. Hän miettii että means he thinks that. And he miettivät että means they think that. For example, mietin, että olisi mukava laulaa yhdessä pop-biisejä. I thought that it would be nice to sing pop songs together. Let's go step by step. Mietin is the first person singular past tense of miettiä, which means I thought. Että means that. Olisi mukava means it would be nice. Here we have the conditional mood. Olisi is the third person singular present tense conditional form of olla, which means to be, and mukava can be translated as nice or pleasant. Laulaa yhdessä means to sing together, and pop-biisejä means pop songs. Here we use the partitive plural because we're talking about an indefinite amount of songs. So again, here we use miettiä to emphasize our personal reflection or idea, not just general thinking. Let's repeat again. Mietin, että olisi mukava laulaa yhdessä pop-biisejä. I thought that it would be nice to sing pop songs together. Now let's take a look at some more examples. Amy miettii työasioita, kun hän ajaa töihin means Amy thinks about work matters or work-related things when she's driving to work. Let's go step by step. Amy miettii means Amy's thinking. Again, here we use miettiä in order to emphasize that she's reflecting or focusing on something carefully. Työasioita means work matters or work-related things. Kun hän ajaa töihin means when or while she's driving to work. Let's repeat again. Amy miettii työasioita, kun hän ajaa töihin. Amy thinks about work-related things when she's driving to work. Next one. Mikko on miettinyt, mitä tentissä kysytään means Mikko has been thinking about what will be asked in the exam. Let's go step by step. Mikko on miettinyt means Mikko has been thinking. Here we have the third person singular perfect tense of miettiä, and mitä tentissä kysytään means what is being asked in the exam. Mitä means what? Tentissä is the inessive case of tentti, which means exam, and kysytään here is the passive present of kysyä, which means to ask. So here we use miettiä in order to emphasize careful thought or consideration about what is going to be asked in the exam. Let's repeat again. Mikko on miettinyt, mitä tentissä kysytään. Mikko has been thinking about what will be asked in the exam. Next one. Leena valvoi koko yön ja mietti pitkään, mitä hänen pitäisi tehdä. Means Leena stayed awake all night and spent a long time thinking about what she should do. Let's go step by step. Valvoi is the third person singular past tense of valvoa, which means to stay awake. Koko yön means the whole night. Mitä hänen pitäisi tehdä means what she should do. Mitä means what, and hänen pitäisi tehdä is a necessity construction, conditional form. That's why hän stands here in the genitive case, which is hänen, followed by pitäisi plus the infinitive verb, which is tehdä here. So let's repeat again. Leena valvoi koko yön ja mietti pitkään, mitä hänen pitäisi tehdä. Leena stayed awake all night and spent a long time thinking about what she should do. Alright, now to the conjugations. Here the positive present tense. Minä mietin, sinä mietit, hän miettii, me mietimme, te mietitte, and he miettivät. The negative present tense. Minä en mieti, sinä et mieti, hän ei mieti, me emme mieti, te ette mieti, and he eivät mieti. Now we carry on with the third verb, which is luulla, which means to think, to assume, or to believe. With luulla, we can express an assumption, something we believe, but aren't completely sure about it. Let's take a look at some examples. Here's our first one. Luulen, että posti on tuolla, means I think that the post office is over there. Let's go step by step. Luulen, että means I think that. Posti means post office. On is, and tuolla means over there, still in pointing distance. So here we use luulla because we aren't completely sure whether the post office is really over there, but we believe or assume so. In other words, luulla here expresses an assumption, not a fact. So let's repeat again. Luulen, että posti on tuolla. I think that the post office is over there. Next one. Luulen, että tulee sade, means I think it's going to rain. So again here we use luulla because we aren't completely sure, but we assume or believe that it's going to rain. So again we have here an assumption, not a confirmed fact. Luulen, että tulee sade. I think it's going to rain. Two more examples. Luulen, että olen nähnyt sinut jossakin aikaisemmin, means I think I have seen you somewhere before. Let's go step by step. Luulen means I think, I believe. Että, that. Olen nähnyt means I have seen. It's the first person singular perfect tense of nähdä, which means to see. Sinut, here's our object, you. Here we use the accusative case. And jossakin aikaisemmin means somewhere earlier or somewhere before. Jossakin is the inessive case of jokin, which means somewhere, and aikaisemmin is an adverb meaning earlier or before. We can say this when we recognize someone, for example at a party, but aren't completely sure where or when we met them. So this is a polite and cautious way to express uncertainty. Let's repeat again. Luulen, että olen nähnyt sinut jossakin aikaisemmin. I think I have seen you somewhere before. Luulin sinua suomalaiseksi. This is quite an interesting construction. Here we have the verb luulla plus partitive case plus transitive. So when we say luulin sinua suomalaiseksi, then we mean that we assumed the other person was Finnish, but the assumption turned out to be wrong. The person isn't Finnish. So by using luulla here in the past tense, which appears as luulin, we show that it was a past assumption. And with the transitive case, suomalaiseksi, we indicate what we thought the person was. Let's repeat again. Luulin sinua suomalaiseksi. I thought you were Finnish. Now, again the conjugations. Here the positive present tense. Minä luulen, sinä luulet, hän luulee, me luulemme, te luulette, and he luulevat. The negative present tense. Minä en luule, sinä et luule, hän ei luule, me emme luule, te ette luule, and he eivät luule. Alright, now we arrived at our last chapter for today, the exercises. Here's our first one. Fill in the gap by selecting the correct option. We wanna say, I look out the window and think of you. Katson ikkunasta ja ajattelen, do we need sinua, sinusta or sinulta? For this task we have 5 seconds. That's right, the answer is sinua. Katson ikkunasta ja ajattelen sinua. I look out the window and think of you. Next one. What do you think about the nature of Sweden? Mitä sinä ajattelet Ruotsin? Do we need here luonto, luontoa or luonnosta? That's right, the answer is luonnosta. Mitä sinä ajattelet Ruotsin luonnosta? What do you think about the nature of Sweden? Next one. We wanna say, I need to think about this matter. What do we need to fill in? Minun täytyy tätä asiaa. Do we need here ajatella, miettiä or luulla? The best option here is miettiä, because with it we can express a longer thought process. So the solution is minun täytyy miettiä tätä asiaa. I need to think about this matter. Next one. Now the task is a bit different. Fill in the gap by selecting the correct verb and putting it in the correct form. We want to say, Leena stayed awake all night and spent a long time thinking about what she should do. Leena valvoi koko yön ja pitkään, mitä hänen pitäisi tehdä. Here we have 3 verbs. Choose the correct one and put it also into its correct form. That's right, the answer is Leena valvoi koko yön ja mietti pitkään, mitä hänen pitäisi tehdä. Leena stayed awake all night and spent a long time thinking about what she should do. Next one, I think that the post office is over there. At the posti on What do we need here? Excellent. The answer is luulen, että posti on tuolla. I think that the post office is over there. Next one. Fill in the gap by selecting the correct option. We wanna say, I thought you were Finnish. Luulin suomalaiseksi. Do we need here sinä, sinua or sinut? That's right, the answer is sinua. Luulin sinua suomalaiseksi. I thought you were Finnish. Remember the rule? Luulla plus partitive case plus transitive case. And our last one. Again, find the correct option. We want to say, I have never thought about it that way. Minä en ole koskaan asiaa tuolla tavalla. What do we need here? Ajatella, ajattelin or ajatellut. That's right, the answer is minä en ole koskaan ajatellut asiaa tuolla tavalla. I have never thought about it that way. Here we use the first person negative present tense. So that's it for today. I hope you like this video. If you want to learn more Finnish, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day and see you next time.